Hey, hello, what's up, what's up, what's up? What's up, guys? How we doing, man? This is JD Rich back with another One Piece video, One Piece discussion, and this is a theory slash prediction video. We're talking about Blackbeard today, and specifically why he cannot sleep. Now, a lot of people in the community have been correlating Blackbeard's lack of sleep due to his connection to Zebek and the fact that he carries his will, or that he carries Zebek's soul, and when Blackbeard attempts to go to sleep, it's Zebek waking up or something like that. That's why he can't. I'm just gonna say those are nice theories and whatnot. Those are nice assumptions, but my 2 cents, my personal, I don't believe that Zebek has anything to do with why Blackbeard can't sleep. I really don't. I know that it's obvious that Blackbeard has inherited Zebek's will, and yes, he inherited Zebek's will. I mean, we even learned this back in Mocktown. Before we knew who Zebek was, we knew that Blackbeard carried multiple willpowers, not just that of his own, but now it's confirmed he carries the willpower of that of his own father. Pretty badass. Hey man, that's some cold-blooded stuff right there. That's cold-blooded. But I don't think it has anything to do with why Blackbeard can't sleep. Honestly, here's my prediction, man. Cause I'm gonna get into how it correlates with him and Shanks in their first fight with Blackbeard scarring him. I'm gonna correlate it to how Blackbeard murdered Thatch aboard the Moby Dick. But for right now, man, I'm just gonna go out and let him say it. Blackbeard sleeping or his lack thereof actually comes from the possible fact or the possibility that he may have been born with a devil fruit. Now I know what you're thinking. What do you mean Blackbeard was born with a devil fruit? How was Blackbeard born with a devil fruit? Bro, it's not just Blackbeard's lineage or his DNA that enables him to eat multiple fruits. It's the fact that he may be the first person we know who was actually born with one. And like I said, it's my prediction. I'm predicting that Blackbeard was actually born with a devil fruit. That's why he can't sleep. Now, how does being born with a devil fruit correlate to you not being able to sleep? Well, I believe it's the type of devil fruit that he was born with. See, I believe that Blackbeard has an insomnia devil fruit, meaning that a type of fruit that deals with insomnia and sleeping patterns or sleeping ability, whereas the user cannot sleep themselves. However, in exchange, they can manipulate the sleep and the insomnia of other people. So why was he born with this fruit? I honestly believe that, and I predict that Blackbeard's mom actually ate an insomnia fruit, an insomnia devil fruit, to basically preserve Blackbeard's life as an infant. I believe that Blackbeard's mom had to eat a fruit to safely birth her child to term and to basically bring Blackbeard into this world. Because I think that if Blackbeard's mom did not eat a devil fruit when she was having her contractions and her water was breaking, I believe that if she did not eat a devil fruit, Blackbeard would have died in her womb, and she would have died as well. So you got a woman with a baby in her arms, a baby in her womb, that's just gonna die together because the pain of the birthing process was so strenuous on her body that it just killed her. Now, I still believe Blackbeard's mom obviously died giving birth to him, even with her eating the insomnia fruit that I predict that she ate, that Blackbeard is born with. See, I believe that with this insomnia fruit, it has the ability to not only take away another or manipulate another person's sleep or insomnia itself. I believe that it was actually a numbing process to her giving birth. I believe that Blackbeard's mom actually ate this fruit to nullify the birthing pains of the birthing process. Now, just because she nullified the pains possibly through eating this fruit doesn't mean that she still didn't succumb to the effects of childbirth. Because the effects of childbirth on a woman, I'm not a woman, I can't speak for it, but all I can say is that's damn near a life sacrifice, giving birth to a child. That's literally a process of a possible life sacrifice, because a woman is literally giving her own life essentially to bring in new life to the world. So childbirth is no damn joke. Well, I mean, we were all born, right? Like those you watching this video, those you out there, you know what I'm saying? Like, ask your mom or whatever, how was childbirth? I guarantee you they either look at you like you're being crazy or might slap you. Who knows? I'm just saying, man. Women giving childbirth is a real deal. Like, that is just raw. that is raw on their bodies. It's so strenuous. It takes so much energy out of them. And you know what I'm saying? It's a very rigorous process. Now, I believe that she ate an insomnia fruit to safely birth Blackbeard to term. Because I think that she used this fruit to nullify the pain so that way she could safely birth him out. But in doing so, just because she nullified the pain doesn't mean that her body still did not succumb to the effects of childbirth, because her body did. And as a result, I think that Blackbeard's mom actually died while holding Teach in her arms. And the moment that she held Teach in her arms were basically the first ever moments of sleep he possibly got. See, I believe Blackbeard came out the womb crying as any normal baby, right? But I believe he actually did get to sleep during her last moments of life. See, I don't think Blackbeard's mom just instantly died upon giving birth to Blackbeard. I believe she ate the fruit, gave birth to Blackbeard, and had so few moments or minutes left in her life because the effects of the birthing process were still taking a toll on her body, regardless of her nullifying the pain via the devil fruit that she possibly ate. Now, I believe that she was holding Blackbeard in her arms. Those were the first moments of sleep he ever got, minutes literally. And I believe she drifted off and died while holding Blackbeard, and he was just a crying infant from then on out. You okay? So, how does the fruit come into play? Well, I believe that she ate this insomnia fruit. It passed through the umbilical cord, went inside Blackbeard, and as he was born, and as she held him after carrying him, you know what I'm saying, getting him out after birthing him from her womb and whatnot, as she was holding him and she was passing away with her last moments of life, the essence of the fruit itself solidified itself in Blackbeard, its new host and user. That's why Blackbeard cannot sleep. I believe that he was actually born with a devil fruit, and it's specifically an insomnia type devil fruit. I mean, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the origins of like the Sandman. The Sandman is a entity of, it's a sleep entity, basically. A sleep demon, basically somebody who would come and sprinkle sand in the eyes of children so that way they can have beautiful dreams. And then there's another depiction of the Sandman where the Sandman would take the eyes of children who wouldn't sleep and give them nightmares or something like that and just take their eyes for himself. Now, I think that it's possibly an insomnia no me, or a Sandman no me devil fruit. I believe that the origins of this possible fruit that Blackbeard may have been born with comes from the origins of the Sandman, because y'all know how Oda is. He loves to use mythological origin creatures and whatnot, you know, bring them into the story and whatnot, and just inspire iterations of characters and entities in the story from actual entities from mythical folklore. So I believe that Blackbeard has an insomnia fruit, right? And with that insomnia fruit, it actually gives him a major hand in dealing with enemies, especially like sneaking up on them and whatnot. Because one, look at this. When Blackbeard murdered Thatch, right? 4th Division Commander Thatch. When Blackbeard murdered him, notice that nobody found out until the next day. Nobody found out the night of Thatch's murder. You mean to tell me all those members on the ship, even Ace himself, regardless of, oh, well, they were sleeping deep, so you couldn't, no, that's no excuse. Regardless of everybody on the Moby Dick sleeping, how is it that he was able to murder Thatch without making a sound whatsoever and then scurry off? Come on now. If your crewmates on a ditch, you didn't hear Thatch scream, you didn't hear Thatch holler or anything. Oh, you could say that, well, because Blackbeard did attack him from behind. He did come up behind him and stab him. Now, you could say that Blackbeard held his hand over his mouth and muffled Thatch's screams, but I don't believe that was the case at all. From the way Thatch was laying, his hand was up, which means he could have maybe tried to grab Blackbeard off. Who knows? Maybe Blackbeard did muffle Thatch's mouth, but I'm going with otherwise, because this is my thing. The way Blackbeard murdered Thatch, obviously he stabbed him in his back, but how doing so? Sneaking up on him, of course, but I believe that Blackbeard, by physical touch, he actually put his hand on Thatch's shoulder and made Thatch drowsy. And in his drowsy state, Blackbeard then stabbed him. Because imagine him grabbing Thatch's shoulder and then taking a knife and just stabbing him either in his back or his chest. Then taking the yami away and running off. Now, This is why I say Blackbeard did have a devil fruit when he actually fought Shanks. Because look, we know Blackbeard uses that Wolverine claw. We know Shanks uses a sword. And Shanks can sometimes use two hands. You can grip, like when you're a swordsman, you can grip your sword with two hands or one hand, depending on however you want to use it, you know? So I believe that during that fight between Blackbeard and Shanks, I believe that Shanks actually had both hands on the hilts of his sword, trying to slash Blackbeard, and Blackbeard stopped it using his Wolverine claw. But alas, Blackbeard has a free hand. So if you're coming at me with a sword and I stop it with like a Wolverine claw, I just stop your sword with one arm. I got a free hand. And say they were in a clinch. Just say that they were in a clinch, staring face to face with Shanks' blade in front of Blackbeard and Blackbeard's Wolverine claw blocking Shanks. They're looking at each other eye to eye, right? Let's say Blackbeard takes his free hand because he's stopping Shanks' sword with the Wolverine claw. Shanks has both. Let's imagine Shanks has both hands trying to slash Blackbeard. Blackbeard stops it with his Wolverine claw. With Blackbeard's free hand, he can grab Shanks by his wrist. And let's say he grabbed Shanks by his wrist, activated his devil fruit, made Shanks drowsy, and then I'm using 3 fingers. He just slashes Shanks on his eye. I believe that that's actually how Shanks got scarred. Because remember, Shanks even said he was not caught off guard. They were straight up fading with each other. And I think that Shanks, now just because Blackbeard, I believe, possibly used the devil fruit during him and Shanks' fight, doesn't mean that Shanks was caught off guard. I just believe that Shanks was taking on Blackbeard straight up, and Blackbeard used his devil fruit. But it caught Shanks by surprise, not off guard. It just surprised Shanks because how was anybody supposed to know that you have a devil fruit when they're fighting you, unless you don't have some obvious ability? Like Buggy and his chop fruit. That's obvious. Once you slash Buggy and whatnot, you see, oh, devil fruit user. When you're fighting Luffy, say you shoot him or you punch him, the guy's made out of rubber. But Blackbeard, I believe he has an insomnia fruit, which means that you have no indication of you have no indication or first signs of him even having a devil fruit, but he has one. So how would you know unless he uses it on you? I believe that actually Blackbeard used his insomnia fruit that he may or may not have been born with, but he definitely was. This is me, I'm going with it. Blackbeard was born with an insomnia fruit. His mother ate it to nullify her birthing pain to safely bring him to term. If she didn't eat a devil fruit, both her and Blackbeard would have died. Her with Blackbeard in her womb and her just pregnant with child, suffering a miscarriage, a death of a baby, and a death of her very own life. So if it wasn't for Blackbeard's mom eating the devil fruit, we would have no Blackbeard. Now back to Blackbeard and Shanks. I believe that Shanks tried to slash Blackbeard. Blackbeard used his Wolverine claw to stop Shanks' blade and used his free hand to grab Shanks by his wrist, because Shanks' hands would be on the hilts of his sword. If we're in a clinch, we're close to close. We're in a clinch. We're just, you got a sword and you're using both hands. I got a Wolverine claw and I'm blocking it. I got a free hand. Or let's say if I'm using my hand to, because you know how Denjiro used his forearm to basically help block Zoro's tower climb return attack in Wano. You know, when Zoro went up in the air and he was fighting Denjiro, and he used the tower climb return, and we see that Denjiro actually blocked it with one arm, but using his forearm to hold behind, you know what I'm saying, give it support. I believe Blackbeard did something similar where he blocked Shanks' sword and used his forearm to help support it, but also he may have slipped his forearm away for a moment, grabbed Shanks by the hilt, grabbed Shanks by his wrist because Shanks' hand are gripping the hilt of his sword. So he grabbed Shanks by the wrist, activating his devil fruit, making Shanks drowsy, right? And then he just scars him straight up in his face. That's how I believe Shanks got his scar. I believe that Blackbeard used his, I'm gonna say it again, used his weapon to stop Shanks' sword, used his free hand to then grab Shanks, making him drowsy, initiating his insomnia fruit, and then just slashed him. Now, with Blackbeard being born with this fruit, I'm pretty sure he hated it as a kid because he probably resented his mother for it, but he didn't come to, or he loved his mother, who knows. But I think there was slight resentment there, because why was I born not being able to sleep? Why did I have to be born like this? But Blackbeard, I don't think he knows, or maybe he does, who knows. But as a kid, I don't think Blackbeard realized that his mom actually ate a devil fruit to safely preserve his own life, you know, to carry him to term. That's just what I believe, man. I believe Blackbeard's sleeping ability has nothing to do with him carrying Zebek's will or anything like that. And I don't believe it's Zebek coming to life during the night and taking over Teach's body. I don't believe that. Yes, it's obvious that Zebek's will was inherited by Blackbeard. I don't deny that. But Blackbeard not being able to sleep is directly linked to a possible devil fruit that he may or may not have been born with. But I'm going with he may have been born with. Like I said, man, his mom ate this fruit to nullify her birthing pains, to safely bring him to term. And as she did it with the last moments of her life, as the fruit was fully surpassed through the umbilical cord into her child, she would later die with Blackbeard in her arms, a crying baby. And the thing is, the last moments of Blackbeard's mom being alive may have been the only moments of sleep Blackbeard ever experienced. Because then after she died, the full essence of the fruit was submitted into the child, the newborn. So Blackbeard was a screaming toddler for ever since he was born, only with a slight few minutes of sleep. Because as a baby, you don't know what sleep is, but you're sleeping. You're not really conscious like that as a baby. You're conscious, but you don't know what things are. You know what I mean? You don't comprehend stuff. You're just a newborn baby crying and wailing. So as he cried and wailed upon being born out the womb, the last few moments that she got to actually rock Blackbeard were the only moments of sleep he possibly could have gotten. And then after she died, he just was a crying baby in his mother's dead arms. So I believe Blackbeard was actually born with a devil fruit. I believe that the devil fruit he was born with is directly linked to insomnia, or insomnia capabilities, meaning the user cannot sleep, but in exchange, they can manipulate the sleep and insomnia of others by touching them or doing some type of trance process where they're shooting out some type of aura. I don't know, but I believe it comes from physical touch mainly. So, and then look at this. He has two more fruits, the Gura and the darkness. But think about this. The darkness was the first fruit that he stole, and it's perfect. It perfectly correlates to my prediction, because one, when you close your eyes and you go to sleep, right? Close your eyes right now. What do you see? What do you see? Darkness. You see darkness. When you close your eyelids, you see darkness. Now, you're dealing with a person who possibly was born with an insomnia fruit, not allowing them to sleep at all. But to comfort with that ability, you stole the darkness fruit, because the darkness is the only form of like comfort you get with not being able to sleep. It's like Blackbeard being in dark places, in dark rooms. It's like a comfort for him. It's his own way of sleeping without sleeping, because Blackbeard cannot sleep. So him being in the darkness is actually him getting his own form of rest or hibernation in a way. Because when you close your eyes to sleep, all you see is darkness, and then whatever dreams you may have going on. But initially, when you close your eyes, all you see is darkness. Sleep and darkness go hand in hand, because when you close your eyes to rest, you immediately see darkness. Pitch black. Like I'm looking at darkness right now with my eyes closed. So yeah, man, that's what I got for today, man. That's just my quick Blackbeard discussion. I believe that he was actually born with a devil fruit. I believe that his devil fruit has everything to do with insomnia. And I think that his mother ate this fruit to safely preserve her child and bring him to term in this world. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, man. I want to hear everything what you're thinking, but like I said, I don't think Blackbeard's lack of sleep has anything to do with the fact that he is a part of Zebek, carrying Zebek's will, or even Zebek's son. I believe it fully has to do with a possibility of Teach being born with a fruit, and I believe his mother ate this fruit to safely make sure Teach was born. Because if she had not done this, Teach could have possibly died in the womb, and his mother could have died as well, attempting the birthing process, because the pain may have been too much for her body to take. Because like I said, childbirth Childbirth is a life-altering, life-changing, and life-taking process in a way. Like pushing out a life to be born while using your own, that is a life-changing process. And it's very painful for women. So, and there are cases in real life where women die from giving birth to a child. Yeah, the child lives, but the woman died. You have cases like that. So I believe Blackbeard's mom died giving birth to him, but she ate a fruit to safely do it. She knew that she was sacrificing her life, but she was gladly doing so to preserve the life of her own child, her newborn. So she would gladly eat this fruit to have a painless birth. I believe she ate the fruit. Like I'm gonna say it again. I know I've said it multiple times, but I'm gonna drill it into your heads. I believe she ate this fruit to nullify the pain of her birthing process. But still, she succumbed to the toll and effects it had on her body. So with the last moments of life, she held Blackbeard in her arms, and this may have been the only moment of sleep he ever got, like a minute or two, 5, I don't know. But as she died and her baby was in her arms, as she died and passed away, you have a crying Blackbeard who permanently cries because the devil fruit that she ate is now fully submitted has now fully submitted its essence into the well-being of her newborn child, who now cannot sleep because he carries the effects of the insomnia, know me. That's just my little name on it. I don't know what it is. It may be the Sandman know me. Because look up the origins of the Sandman. I believe that Blackbeard's fruit may come from, be inspired or interpreted from those type of origins. You know how Oda does. So yeah, man, I believe Blackbeard was born with a devil fruit. And I believe he actually used this devil fruit when he scarred Shanks. Because think about it, if you're swinging at me with a sword and I stop it with the Wolverine claw and I use my forearm of my free hand to support it, and then I quickly grab you by the wrist, because you're swinging your sword like this and I grab you by the wrist, activate my fruit, you fall drowsy, I move your sword out the way and then quickly scar you. Shanks was not caught off guard. They were standing in front of each other when this happened. So yeah, man, and you know what? I actually believe that Whitebeard gave them permission to fight. I believe that the whole reason they even had a fight was because Blackbeard was jealous of the possible praise that Whitebeard may have been. I'm just going into it. I believe that Shanks and his crew were sailing and they happened to dock in a town that Whitebeard was at. Shanks, wanting to pay respect to Whitebeard, randomly bumping into Whitebeard's crew. I believe that Whitebeard may have given praise to Shanks, like, hey man, I've been hearing about you on the rise, on the come up. Like you starting to show some name for yourself. You starting to earn a reputation from your daily duels with Mihawk to the crazy stuff you've been pulling as your own captain on the seas. You might come up. You know what I'm saying? You might come up, man. You might come up. You still ain't on my level though, but you coming up, Shanks. Blackbeard may have heard this and got jealous and was like, yeah, but he served on the rival crew of Roger, who was your rival on the seas. That's how Blackbeard may have looked at it. Blackbeard may have been jealous of the praise that Whitebeard was possibly giving Shanks, and Blackbeard, you know him, he probably started bad-mouthing Roger, and Shanks actually may have asked Whitebeard's permission to fight Blackbeard, because look, if you fight one of Whitebeard's crewmates, you dealing with the whole crew. That's how they roll. That's how Whitebeard rolls. If you want to fight his crew, you hurt one member of his crew, you dealing with everybody, even the captain himself. That's how because we know how Whitebeard rolls. His crew are like his sons. His crew is like family. So if you touch one member of my family, it's like you touching me indirectly, homie. I gotta get at you. But I believe that this wasn't the case in Shanks and Blackbeard's situation. I believe Blackbeard personally called out Shanks via trash-talking Roger, the only father figure Shanks came to know, along with the other role models on the pirate ship. But Roger especially being the father figure to Shanks that Shanks never had. So this probably fired Shanks up in a way that he was like, hey man, Whitebeard, I asked your permission to fight your crewmate. And Whitebeard was like, all right, fine, y'all fight each other, but don't come crying to me, either one of you, whoever loses or wins. I don't want to hear about it. Go ahead and have it out, little brats. Or Whitebeard pleaded against it. But then again, knowing Whitebeard, if you wanted to fight a member of his crew, he probably would have let you. Probably would have let you, depending on who you were. And I think because it was Shanks, Whitebeard gave the okay. Like, all right. Tell you what, you feel that he disrespected Roger. I understand why you want to fight him, because even Whitebeard has respect for Roger. So with Teach disrespecting Roger's memory, it's what I predict. With Teach disrespecting Roger's memory, he probably fired up Shanks. They went at it, clashing back and forth. Then Shanks tried to slash Blackbeard. Blackbeard stopped it using his Wolverine claw, whatever that, I don't know the technical name for that weapon is, but that weapon that Blackbeard uses, the claw, the Wolverine claws, he stopped Shanks's sword with that weapon. And after stopping it, he took his free hand, grabbed Shanks, made him drowsy, scarred him. And the thing is, I don't think even Whitebeard knew. I don't even believe Whitebeard knew that Teach was born with a fruit until after he scarred Shanks. That's why when Shanks said, you know how dangerous he really is. And having an insomnia fruit, that does make you a dangerous person, depending on how you use it. And who knows how Blackbeard uses it. I obviously predict and know that Blackbeard uses his devil fruit to get the advantage on people physically, touching them, making them drowsy, and then beating the hell out of them or scarring them, stabbing them, killing them, whatever. And I believe he used that fruit to kill Thatch. That's why he snuck up on him. He grabbed Thatch and then stabbed him in his back or stabbed him in his chest. Like he came over the shoulder with the knife and stabbed Thatch. But I believe he physically grabbed Thatch by his shoulder, like his hands. Grabbed Thatch, made Thatch drowsy, and then either stabbed Thatch in his chest or stabbed him in his back. And then left Thatch laying on the floor on his stomach, to die. And nobody on the crew heard it, but everybody discovered this the very next day. That's crazy to me how nobody heard this man murder their own crewmate. His own crewmate. Nobody heard a thing. Nobody heard anything. How was Thatch not screaming? You get stabbed. How did you not go, something? Because Blackbeard used his devil fruit to make Thatch drowsy. And then he stabbed him. That's why I believe Blackbeard was born with an insomnia fruit. He's never slept a day in his life. People are just solely placing that at the foot of Zebek being in his soul or whatever. I do not disagree that Zebek is a part of Blackbeard's will, but I believe that Blackbeard was born with an insomnia fruit. And that's just what my prediction, man. That's just my prediction. Like I said, man, let me know your thoughts and comments down below. If you want to, like, share, and subscribe. If you want to, that's totally up to you. But I'm going to keep cooking and bringing you this fire content, fire predictions, fire theories, discussions, everything one piece, man. So, yeah, man, that's all I got for you today. This is JD Rich checking out with you. And remember, man, a piece of life is life in one piece. Peace.